Yo, what's up, guys? It's Talon. Today we're going to be coaching an Evelynn player who's currently an Emerald. I also did a Lilia game with them afterwards, but they only wanted the Evelynn game to be shown. So in the notes portion, I do talk about the Lilia game as well, but it's pretty much the same stuff, so it won't really matter for you guys. If you're interested in coaching from a rank 5 Sovereign autofill player like myself, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or through the link in the description to join my Discord server as well, and then you can message me there. It's just $15 an hour, like I said. I also have channel memberships if you're interested in that. There's more details about the channel memberships in my link in the description as well. But I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next one. What do you feel like typically are your issues in games, and also kind of like what's your goal with the coaching? Like, are you trying to get to a new rank, or?
Like my issues are lately, I don't really know how to end the game. For this one, like I can gank, but this game is like 28 minutes long,
Yep.
and we almost lost. So I'm like, I don't really know how to end it. I struggle with that.
Okay.
Um, and I would like to be like in the top 200 of Evelynns.
Okay, so your
For
goal
rank,
is
I
the
don't. Yes.
the goal is more champion specific. Okay. So
Yes.
just a few like small things. Like I'll what I typically do, because you can also review the recording after, at least for the Evelynn one. I'll talk about all the
Mm-hmm.
small things, and then the major points, like the things that really matter that you should have in your mind every game, we'll write those down. So like small thing, for
Mm-hmm.
example, don't smite the camp until it's slightly below 600 health, because in a small amount
Mm-hmm.
of scenarios, the enemy might invade you, and then you don't have smite. So just wait to smite it until it goes down to 600. You also get a bit more healing because you let it damage you a bit more. So that's the first small
Yes.
thing. The second thing here is don't
Mm-hmm.
go around this way. Um, so when you're clearing this camp, the goal of Evelynn is to get to level 5. You don't ever want to do anything before level 5. Basically, you're like a useless champion unless you see the most free kill of all time. But otherwise, just don't do anything. And so the goal here should be to kite these camps down this way. And again, ask questions if you want clarification on anything or anything like that. But you want to kite down this way so you can get to the blue side faster. Because if you clear all 6 of your camps and then you get the scuttle, you'll hit level 5. And that is the main goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can start looking for ganks or something like this. Whereas here, going and helping your teammate
Yeah.
usually not going to work out or do much. So
Yeah, I had a reason for this one. Because Figar was almost dying and like
yeah,
the enemy jungler came, so I was just there standing so like Lux or like
so they wouldn't
Pantheon
go
would
on them.
back.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you can kind of see what happens here, right? He died anyways. And this is sort of the thing about playing in Emerald and Diamond especially. Your
Mm-hmm.
teammates, if they're bad, they're going to die. If they're good, they're probably going to win the lane. Like there's not that much that you can do early game as Evelynn. Even if you show up there or whatever and you try to scare them off, they're going to die 2 seconds later if they're bad enough to be that low health that early, if that kind of makes sense. So especially with a champion like Evelynn and Lilia, both of these champions are extremely selfish champions. And so I really want you to be in the
Mm-hmm.
mindset of trying to get as much gold on yourself as possible and not really worrying about ganks until you have really good gank opportunities. So again, for Evelynn, you really need that level 5 pretty much above all else. So it's not really going to get you that much benefit to go and help your teammate like that. Because again, if
Mm-hmm.
he's a good player, he's going to be able to survive. And if he's a bad player, you don't really care if you save his life or not because he's bad. So he's kind of going to be useless later anyways, if that makes sense. So it really doesn't do as much good as much as it does to just farm yourself and really trust yourself. Like this is how you're going to carry and be able to climb and win a lot of games. And then if the gold is on you, that allows you to then put yourself in a position to close out the games instead of the games going 28 minutes because maybe you try to trust your teammates with the gold and then they end up
Mm-hmm.
doing what Emerald teammates will do a lot of times in queues. So another thing here, when we're going for ganks, typically we want to go for ganks that are on the same side as wherever our camps are spawning. So because you started on the red side and then you cleared your blue side, the red side is going to spawn next. And you know what I mean when I say red side, right? Like this side of camps.
Yes.
But so we want to go here typically because then we have camps to spot to farm, and then we would go for a gank on that side of the map after. Whereas when you go here, you have to walk a lot further to clear your camps initially. So the first main thing is just efficiency with your farming. The main goal is that you want to be able to clear each side of the map twice before the dragon and herald spawn, because that will always give you
Mm-hmm.
a good amount of gold. And then anything else, a kill or anything else is just extra, but it's not necessary. It's totally okay if we just clear each side of the map twice and then the objective spawns and we go for an objective. That's really the main focus. And then anything else is kind of a bonus. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so same thing here. It's better to typically farm Krugs first, then the Raptors, because it's just when we want them to respawn, because we're kind of thinking about when we want the next ones to respawn in. And so had you been on those Krugs right away when they'd respawn or when they'd spawned, then that would have been a little bit better as well. but not the end of the world, just a smaller thing. Because you can see here how now, because you kind of waited a little longer to clear it, and this is good to end up, going for the kill here. That's perfectly fine. But because of the fact that you didn't clear your Krugs earlier, now your Krugs have been, and you know what I mean when I say Krugs, right? Just to clarify.
Yes.
Just want to make sure. Okay, sorry, I'm not always sure if people understand all the terminology, so I just try to clarify that. But if you had cleared your Krugs earlier when they had spawned initially instead of going to topside like that, then your Krugs would spawn closer to your Raptors. But now your Raptors and your Krugs will spawn at very different times. So you're probably going to have to go back and clear your Raptors, and then you're going to have to go back later to clear your Krugs. So if you clear them all at a similar time, they respawn at a similar time, and then it just makes it all kind of easier. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. What happened here? The replay live.
Yes, one of my teammates got kind of mad at me, like Misfortune, I think, because I didn't go to their lane to help them out.
Yeah.
I
So
was
were you
like, I'm
typing
farming.
or?
Yes, I was typing, like I'm on the
Okay.
other
Wait,
side.
so Evelyn went invisible, so then the camp. Wait, that's actually, I didn't know that happens. That would happen, like why it reset, or that was weird.
Yes, because
Yeah,
I
I didn't know that happened. But by the way, so this is kind of the thing I want to talk about as well. You notice how the dragon's spawning, and you've only cleared red side twice and blue side once, because your blue side's up. You need to make sure that you're clearing all of these. So typically when you do the full clear like I'm talking about, your blue side will respawn around 4-ish minutes. And so then at 4-ish minutes, you're going to clear that entire side of the map, and usually you're going to recall to spend your gold after that. And then you'll be in a much stronger position for the objective, but instead you don't have that gold spent, you haven't recalled, so you still are sitting on gold as well. And then we're kind of just not in as great of a spot as well. So
that makes sense.
and then also you probably would prefer to go for the Herald here because that's the side of your map that's doing well and that you ganked and that's winning. And usually you want to go for the objective that is at your winning lane. And so because of the fact that you ganked them earlier and they were doing well, you'd probably prefer to go for the Herald. And also as Evelyn, if you ever can, the Herald is the best one to get because it gets you more gold, and that gold is usually more valuable. So you can get the dragon and it's fine, but if we have a stronger lane there, we would prefer to try to get the Herald.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I would say again, like all these smaller things that we spoke about are nice, but the main thing to keep in your mind to really like help you improve is going to be efficiency. Just farming your camps pretty much as soon as they're spawning, ganking lanes that are on the same side as your next camps will be spawning, and just making sure that we're as efficient with all of our gameplay as possible. Because the real goal for Evelyn is just to get to, like the third dragon, the Elder Dragon, with 3, 4, 5 items and be really strong. So even here, you notice how, again, you skip these camps. It's not the end of the world to not get both objectives. What you would prefer to do is guarantee all of these camps being killed, because, again, notice how I said you should have cleared them at 4 minutes, right? But you still haven't cleared them 2 minutes later. It takes 1 minute and 50 seconds for any small camp to respawn, and 2 minutes and 30 seconds for a blue buff to respawn. So had you cleared these 2 minutes ago, which is roughly when they would have spawned, all of these would pretty much have respawned again, which that's like 500-600 gold. So just here alone, you left 500 or 600 gold, and then every second that these camps are still up, you're bleeding additional gold. Does that make sense? Because then they're not respawning the next ones. And so even if this Herald might give you 500 to 1,000 gold, you would have just got that if you cleared your camps anyways. Which is why we want to make sure that we're kind of clearing those camps before we do other things. When objectives are up, though, it is okay to sometimes like not go to your camp right away to go for an objective. But since you already got the dragon and the camps were close to you, it would have been a bit better to just farm those and then go after.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Because most of the time I prioritize dragons above the camps.
Yeah, and typically you should prioritize dragons and objectives before that. It's just more the fact that since you just cleared the dragon, you could have just right after clearing the dragon gotten that blue buff and those camps afterwards because they were right there, and then you could have used the hex gate to come over. But you also, again, like I said, should have cleared them before the dragon spawned because they were up, at 4 minutes, and so you could have just done it there as well, and that would be the ideal thing to do. And then another thing is try to drop Herald on a higher health lane, because you get more plates from it. So here you only got 1 plate from this drop. So you want to make sure when you get the Herald, you drop it before 7 minutes 30 seconds, because that's when plates drop. But you also, again, you want to drop it on a higher health turret typically. I'd say any time where there's 3 or more plates up, you can drop it there. And preferably you drop it mid when you can, because breaking mid tower is the most valuable tower to break. But if you want to drop it on a laner who's doing well, like if your mid laner is doing bad, you can drop it towards a laner who's doing better if their turret is still high health, because you want to typically play around your strongest laners as well.
Mhm.
And then are Lilia and Evelyn the main two champs you play, or you play others as well?
Well, I actually only play Evelyn, but
Okay.
I'm trying to play Lilia and Kha'Zix. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his
Kha'Zix,
name.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause every time I play rank, I'm scared someone is gonna ban Evelyn or the enemy's gonna choose it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So.
Okay, so again, same thing here. Notice how,
Mhm.
again, you went for the gank when you have these camps up. And for the most part, again, if a dragon is up, this is different. Like I said, you can skip your camps when dragons and whatever is spawning. That's fine. But if
Mhm.
there's no objective up, make sure you're clearing your camps first. Because again, we're going to go back and just do similar things. So let's see how long this has
Mhm.
been up. That was what we're talking about, 7:51 here, like even 8 minutes. We'll say
Mhm.
8 minutes. Let's go back and see how long all of these things are up for. When's the last time we cleared them? I'm just going to go back. Okay, so it was, wait, no, not even here. When was the last time? Literally over 2 minutes, right? So these two camps here have been up for over 2 minutes, 3 minutes, almost the 2.5, 3 minutes, right? And so again, like I said, they would have respawned. So that's like 300 additional gold that you could have gotten there. And so the reason I'm kind of making that point is just like to really reiterate how much gold you're losing. Even if you get these kills, right? One kill is worth 300 gold. These two camps that you didn't clear that would have already respawned, that's already worth 300 gold just by those. And it's less dangerous because obviously maybe you die, right? If you gank, you never know if you're for sure going to get the kill or not. But those camps, they're always guaranteed. So make sure you're just getting those camps first, and then you go for the ganks after. Because you're still going to be able to come back and gank here right after you clear your camps anyways, and it's going to be perfectly fine. Like there's not really going to be much loss because you're still going to be an invisible Evelyn who's going to be able to get pretty easy kills afterwards. And you're going to be stronger because you're going to have more gold. And then your camps are going to be respawning, so it's just like going to be a win-win situation anyways.
Mhm.
Because another thing about getting kills is you become worth more gold, which is another reason why obviously you want to get kills, but getting those camps first, they're less risky because you don't get worth more gold by clearing camps, so it's just also like has that additional benefit. But we do get a lot of kills here, so that's definitely good still. And then you could have even just invaded here. Okay, you do. Perfect.
Yeah, I only took like this only small part. I didn't go for
Yeah,
the
you shouldn't go
other
farther.
camp.
You should just get these and leave. It's probably too
Okay.
dangerous to do more, so that's fine. But okay, so
Yeah,
I
I
want
never
to,
know
yeah, go
how
ahead.
to invade the enemy. Like I struggle with invading the enemy because I'm scared I will get like Evelyn is a bit squishy,
Yeah,
so
so
I'm
you're
scared like.
scared that you might die, right? And so if you know where the jungler is, obviously it's very safe, but right, maybe you don't know where the jungler is. And so if you don't know where the jungler is, but you think you probably can invade, what you should look at is, do you have your ultimate and your flash? Because if you have your ult or your flash, then the worst case, you just, you use it, right? And then you run away. So in those cases, it might be okay if you're really close to a camp and you see it's pretty easy to get. Other things you can look at as well for invading are like where are your teammates. So for example, like here, because your teammates were all pretty far away, it's a little bit more dangerous to do it. But had you done it like back here, like back when your teammates were, I'm just going back a bit, right? Like before you even went for this gank, you see how like all your teammates are here? You could grab them here, for example. It's fine because you wanted to go for the kill. But this is just an example, like say that you didn't see the kills here, but your teammates were right here, you can do it, right? So if your teammates are there, if you have defensive spells like your ultimate, your flash, stasis, these types of things, I know you go Protobelt because Protobelt's better, but like that's kind of the thing you want to keep track of for whether or not it's okay to invade. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool, cool. And yeah, we get the kills here, so that's obviously good. And then, yeah, this is, I think you pull up the scoreboard in a second. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about next. Here, okay. So, right, you have 5 kills, right? That's like obviously really good that you have this many kills. And even with 5 kills early game, you're only at 7.7 thousand gold at 9 minutes, which is like 850, 900-ish gold per minute. And this is like an ideal game, right? Getting 5 kills early game in the first 9 minutes, that's not going to happen very often. And even in this case, you're only at 850 to 900 gold per minute. The best jungler players, they'll be at about 1,000 gold per minute on average. These are like really insane. Like mine is only like 850, 900. These are like the best ones are like 1,000. But mine is 850, 900-ish consistently every game, right? But the way that you're doing it, yours is only going to be at 850 or 900 if you get all of these kills. So the goal is for it to every single game always be like 800 plus by farming your camps. And then in a game where, because there will still be games when you farm a lot and you get 5 kills anyways. And in that game, you would already be at like 10,000 gold here. You'd be at over 1,000 gold per minute. And so that's kind of why I want you to bring the aggregate game up, like, the aggregate gold that you get on average up, and then the games where you still pop off, where you get 5 kills early game, you're going to be so far ahead, you'd be on an entire extra item. And then similarly here as well, you probably should recall, because I think you have like a full item at this point. So spending your gold as well is also kind of important. Almost a full item, it looks like, pretty close. Soul Stealer, is that what this is? Soul Stealer, or?
I'm
I don't
actually
remember which
not
has
sure.
this. I don't remember which has this. I think it's Soul Stealer, but I don't play that many AP champions, so sometimes I forget the components for all of them. But I think Infinity Orb is more commonly built on Evelynns. Like, I feel like Infinity Orb is typically a really good early item. Lich Bane, I mean, is solid too. But I don't know. I mean, if you watch other like top Evelynn players and you see them building this, then keep building that. Because I'm not really an Evelynn player, so I'm not entirely sure what the typical builds are. But like, this is
Yeah, it's
good...
like
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to say, yeah, this like one of, I think on the European server, it's like the #1 Evelynn player that uses
Okay,
this build, and I just
gotcha.
modify it a bit.
Then yeah, it's probably fine. But this is kind of the thing I wanted to talk about as well, is like, notice how here you have your camps up and you cleared them, right? And then you're on this side of the map. So even though you have some camps spawning topside, this is when I think it's really good for you to go for a gank, because you just cleared camps on this side of the map. And so now it's just very convenient to go straight over. And so again, notice how since we cleared them first, then it's like, if you get the kill on him, which you did here, it's perfect. But worst case scenario, you got the gold and then you just don't get a successful gank. It's perfectly fine. So these are the types of plays that I want you to be making more often, is maybe after you clear your camps, then you go look for a quick gank. If it doesn't work out, you recall, spend your gold, and then go to the other side really quickly. So like here, for example, it's not really a good idea to invade. 1, because you don't have teammates around, and 2, because the objective is spawning in 15 seconds. So we need to make sure we recall and buy our item, because I'm pretty sure you have enough gold for your item now. So you should recall, buy your item, and then set up for the dragon. Typically, you want to be recalling 30 seconds before an objective, roughly, if you have anything to buy. And if you don't have anything to buy, then you want to make sure you're just on that side of the objective to maybe like kill people early or get vision around it and stuff like that. Because notice how your team was kind of fighting here, right? You could have been in a position to help this earlier and probably gotten a pick before your teammates ended up dying. But now because they're dead, it's going to be obviously a little bit harder. So I don't mind you now just trying to go for a steal or something. That's fine.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense actually.
Nice. Okay, the flash was a bit much, but I mean, you know, it worked.
Yeah, I kind of overuse my flash and my ultimate a bit.
Yeah, because yeah, like if we're looking here, I mean, this is obviously more of like a kind of obvious thing, but here, I mean, he's 1 HP and you kind of panicked and like ulted when like he's clearly gonna die, right? There's no reason to use those things. So I would say the main thing that can kind of allow you to understand this better is to keep track of like the enemy spells, like what's most dangerous to you. So for example, here, obviously you go into Pantheon. If you just think about it, Pantheon's not just gonna one-shot you, like, because he's not very strong in this game if we look at his items and whatever. So we don't really have to worry about possibly getting one shot if we go on him like that. If you wanted to ult just to secure it, I don't mind, but like the flash is where it's very aggressive, because he's going to just he has a point and click stun, which you can't dodge with flash. It'll just follow you. So there's not really a point in flashing because of the champion we're going on. And so if you just kind of think about what spells you're going to respond with when you go on them, you'll kind of understand better, you know, what you need to actually do. Do you need to flash an ability? Do you not? And that also comes with understanding the champions. I don't know if you know how Pantheon or all these champs work, because that's also something that obviously can help. But
no, Pantheon not really, but like basic or like most played characters like Lux or Seraphine, those I know pretty well. Brand.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, if you ever don't know what a champion does, it's not always a bad idea to like watch a quick video on them. But obviously that takes some time, so I get not wanting to always do that. But unfortunate that he took your camp there. That was kind of toxic.
Yeah, because she was still mad at me for not helping in the
You guys
beginning
are
of the
winning. I
game.
don't know why she's so mad, but
Yeah.
lucky. So here, when we see 2 people topside, we could even try pinging our team to do the Baron, or you could just go like for a pick on the enemy and then try to do Baron afterwards. Because say you had gone up with your teammate here, and again, I don't hate that you farm your camp right away, but this would be kind of a scenario where, again, you can sometimes shift from being really efficient when there's a potential for an objective. And so since you saw the enemy on the other side of the map, that might be a good time to try to get a kill quickly on the people who are like caught there with your teammate, and then see if you can do a Baron there or not, just like potentially. Obviously here, I don't think it would have ended up being able to do the Baron because your teammate died really quickly and one of your teammates are topside, but it's just something that I want you to be like kind of looking for, because that is a good way to be able to close out games. is to like be able to find these times where we can get the objectives, because the Baron and the Elder Dragon are going to be the main ways we can actually end a game. And then here, I think you were probably trying to go backwards, right? Like, I don't think you meant to ult that way.
Yeah, I kind of panicked. So
Yeah, I would say it seems like also panicking is one of your main like mechanical like micro things that you have an issue
Yeah.
with. So I would really just say like it's stupid. It sounds really easy or really like straightforward, but just really like being okay with messing up and dying and making mistakes is kind of like a good way to avoid this. Like it's okay if you end up dying every once in a while by being greedy with your ultimate or not ulting or flashing or whatever. And the more you go for these plays, the more you're gonna like get better at it. And again, thinking about what spells the enemy have and how they're gonna respond. But when we kind of get really panicky when we like take some damage or we freak out, that's usually when all of these like bigger mistakes happen. So I would just say like try to be a bit more, calm when you're playing, which again, it's very obvious, it's very straightforward. But if you just think again, like you actually have in your mind while you're playing, oh, this champion can, Lux can first ability me, Seraphine can root me. Even if they root me, I can probably still ult out afterwards. It's not the end of the world. Like that type of thing, I guess. But
hmm Yeah, that makes sense. Like I don't really think about the enemy's action when I play.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I need to do that more, I think.
Yeah, and also for this game, I think fourth item Crown is really good because they have a lot of like spells that could one shot you, like Lux, Seraphine, Pantheon. Like they all have stuns or roots that are scary. And then this is another thing as well. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why it's hard for you to win games like later as well. And that is the only time you want to spend on this side of the map, the dragon side of the map, when the Baron is up and there's no dragon, is to farm your camps. Other than that, you never want to be on this side because the enemy could sneak Baron at any point, or if they get a kill, like all these things. So you never need to be here unless there is a dragon or you see like multiple people on that side that are free kills. Because if you say the enemy has a split pusher and they're here and you kill them, the enemy will just do the Baron if they're smart enough, and it won't be worth it. So you never really want to chase kills or anything on this side of the map. You only really want to play around the Baron when it's spawning. But then obviously once the dragon is spawning, you can start to go for the dragon again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. And so yeah, I'm just to reiterate, the main things so far that I'm noticing are the efficiency in the early game, like we spoke about, making sure that we don't gank pre-level 5, more awareness of objective timers, because again, the dragon, for example, we weren't really aware when that was spawning, this Baron as well, so we need to be recalling and setting up better for those objectives and playing more around the side of the map where objectives are spawning. We want to play around our stronger side of the map, prioritize Herald more, and then just be a bit less panicky, which is obviously, the easier said than done, but those are the main things. That's probably what we'll end up writing down at the end, but I'm just kind of reiterating those, so you have those key things in your mind, and then a lot of the smaller things as well. Like even here, for example, just think about the reality of the situation when we go for this ward as well. Like this control ward won't reveal you on the dragon. The only point of you being here is the dragon, right? Like you're never gonna actually walk here, so it's way more risky you doing this than anything else. And if you think about it, right, you just killed multiple people. What's the one way that this turns bad? Well, if you get caught by Pantheon stunning you. And the only way he can stun you is if he reveals you. The only way he can reveal you is if you walk towards this control word. So in this situation, it makes a lot more sense to just like chill back here, wait for the dragon to spawn, try to get it, because then you're going to get the dragon soul. But when you walk up here, this is kind of the one time where the enemy could kill you. So again, thinking about the enemy response and how they're going to actually be thinking. I think you still probably live here, I'm guessing, because kind of weak.
Yes,
but
I survived.
yeah.
Like
So then
5
we have
hours
to-
took the.
I honestly think you could have killed him, by the way, like, which is another like sort of non-panicky thing.
Oh, I did
honest-
kill him actually.
Yeah. I mean, like here, like, so again, this is kind of another thing is spell rotation. So look at this. He missed his first ability, right? He dashed onto you, and then he used he used all 3 abilities, right? So think about it. They're all 5 to 10 second cooldowns. He has nothing right now. All he can do is auto attack you. So you could actually straight up kill him here because of that. But
Oh, that makes sense actually.
yeah, so like that's enemy cooldown thing as well. Again, that's kind of a unique thing. Or you could have kited into your teammate as well, but again, just a little less panicky with the flash. Now there, I don't really hate you flashing because he stunned you, and the one way you possibly lose is if he like kills you. So I don't really hate you doing it there. That's just a hindsight thing. And then again, don't smite things early. Smite to last hit. Like here, you smite right now. When you do that, it could possibly get stolen. I mean, here nobody's alive, so it doesn't really matter. But just get in the habit again when you're clearing your camps early game or other times. Don't smite because you see the Lux ult, right? Since you didn't have smite, it's slightly scary. So just always wait to smite until something is below the threshold that it will be last hit on.
Mm-hmm.
And then again as well, no real reason to be on this side because again, what's up now? The Baron. So it'd be a lot more. It's not the end of the world because their jungler's dead, so you can do this. But it'd be better to just recall, spend your gold, and then go towards the Baron side and try to set up around there because then you could get the scuttle around there for vision on the Baron. And then say anybody walked into you, you killed them. You have a very good chance of getting the Baron, which will allow you to close out the game. But I'm guessing, and I'm going to start skipping through and going a bit faster because now we're more going to talk about the decision making for ending games because you said this goes 28 minutes. And so here again, now you're on the right side of the map, right? Notice how here, this is where we can actually potentially get a pick or do something with someone. It looks like we actually get one shot, so that's a little unfortunate. Not the end of the world. Could have been a bit more patient because that's kind of, again, the thinking about what happens when I walk into the bush. She's going to first ability me, so we were just a bit patient, let our team walk up. But you know, I don't hate you trying to go for the kill really quickly. And then so it looks like here, obviously the enemy, you know, they get a lot out of that. Not the end of the world. Like those are the types of mistakes that are going to happen when you start going for a bit more risky plays or trying not to always like, you know, waste your ultimate. That's going to happen. Again, obviously could have been avoided, but it's not the end of the world. And then once the Elder Dragon's spawning, this is sort of how the game should end is you get Elder Dragon and then you get Baron immediately after. So we'll see if the issue is that you get Elder and then you don't get Baron. Okay, yeah. So you get Elder, and then let's see what you immediately try to do. So I guess maybe you try to fight.
I think I died, or oh yeah, I panicked, so I flashed wrong, and then I died.
I mean, here you should still be fine though. Like, you have your ultimate. I don't really think you should ever be able to die in this. Okay. Okay, so similar situation here even. So let's look at, and again, could have just been kind of shifting towards the Baron side or going for a pick on someone. But that aside, so again, that's the thing. We want to try to play around the Baron after we get the Elder. But because of the situation we end up finding ourselves in, what does he do? He jumps on you. First ability is you. He has nothing. Had you use your dash thing, right, and you first ability, you did damage to him, you are more likely to kill him. But notice how now you didn't use any of your abilities on him. So now he's just able to get out for free and kill you, right? So it's not the end of the world. And again, here it was kind of dangerous because you were really low. So again, I don't even hate you ulting out. The point is more that I want you to be aware of the fact that in some situations when the enemy use all their spells, you might be able to kill them instead of like panicking out, right? But in that situation, I think you might have died anyways. So that's more, again, that we should have been shifting towards the Baron after getting Elder Dragon. Looks like the game is just going to stall out, so then we're going to respawn again. That's why I'm just going to kind of skip through because we're more talking about the decision making. So again, here, you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, go more towards the Baron side.
Okay, exactly. So I'm glad that that's what's in your mind. That's perfect. I want you to be hearing my annoying voice telling you that you should go to the Baron every time that you're in the situation from now on. And then notice how the enemy, they're all going the same thing, right? Because we're in an Emerald game, so they're all going to do this. A lot of times when you're in the Mega late game, Evelynn can one-shot Barons. Like, you know, when your teammate's there, if you get your teammates there and then you just see an enemy jungle show up on the wrong side of the map randomly, if you have your ADC especially, you can do it really, really quickly. Typically, I don't want you to flip an objective. Flipping means like you do it when the enemy jungler is alive because then maybe they hit the smite, maybe you hit it. It's a coin flip. So that's why I say flipping. I don't really want you to flip objectives when you're ahead like you are here because if they get the smite, then they'll win the game. And it's too risky when you're winning. You'd rather just fight like you do here and then one-shot someone. But that's just like a thing as well. Be very aware of the fact that just like you're making this mistake, the enemy might make this mistake and you can capitalize on it. And then here, again, your ult aim is just, you need to be less panicky when you ult. Like, again, your ult aim, you should be going back here, right? But you go here, and then Lux could maybe kill you. So we just need to be, again, I just want you to calm down when you're playing. Be okay with making mistakes, with dying. It's fine. You're gonna, at some point, throw a game, and you're gonna be the reason you lose, and you're gonna, you know, because you do something dumb. That's okay. That's gonna happen. It happens to me, too. It happens to everyone. But you need to be more calm so that you can more often, you know, make the game-winning play or ult the correct way so you don't end up getting caught or whatever, like that type of thing. Again, the ult could have just been aimed a bit differently. Not a huge thing, but it is something that I think will help you out as well. And
Yeah,
then because
I think
you
so
don't,
too.
yeah, because you don't have your ult, and also I don't think you have Crown. I think Crown could have been a better fourth item, unless you haven't finished fourth item yet. But because you don't have ultimate, you don't really need to be going too aggressive here, like for anything specific, unless you see someone really easy to catch. But you got to play a bit more around like your team here, because without ult, you're, you know, again, kind of more of a sitting duck, and so you kind of want to wait for your ult to come out before really doing something, unless you see free kills, like for example on the Pantheon there or something. But you kind of just be hovering around your team, and then yeah, once you have your ultimate.
But here I let him die.
Do you not have your dash, or did you already dash onto her? Because I kind of want to see.
Do you have my dash?
Oh, you dashed onto a minion. Okay, so that's where the
Yeah.
got it. Then yeah, that is what it happens. I was gonna say otherwise we could have dashed on her and probably killed her, but this is fine too. And so here, yeah, we can do the Baron, for example. Like what you should be doing is pinging Baron and going Baron with your team. And if they don't go, then you have to like leave, but you need to ping it and try to get them to do it. And then if none of them listen, then you're just gonna have to go like do this.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Because yeah, pings are probably the most OP thing in low elos, because the difference is like in a higher elo, they won't listen to your pings because like they just won't listen. But in low elos, a lot of times they straight up won't think about that. Like they'll be like, oh, we can do the Baron here. I didn't even realize that there's a Baron up. Like they just don't know these things. And so if you use pings a lot, you just spam and just like, you know, do all this whenever you're aware of it. It's very useful. Again, I want you to think about the danger of versus the reward, right, of clearing this. The danger is you get one shot and die. The reward is really nothing. Like you're not gonna walk here ever, right? Like realistically, if you're trying to kill the enemy, you're gonna go mid or you're gonna go here, right? Like you could go around. You don't really care about this. But this could single-handedly lose you the game if, say, a Lux first ability you, right, and then you just die. So just think about when you're clearing control wards, you know, it's okay to clear them, but a lot of times it's just more risky than it is, you know, worth it. So. Because like we see how close the Lux was there, right? And then you end up actually getting spotted because of that, like the fact that you kind of overstayed there, and then if she hit it, very scary. So.
Yeah.
And so what do you think I'm going to tell you now in this situation that you should do next?
Go for Baron?
No, so this is where the shift happens. 26 seconds now on Elder. So this is when now our shift goes to the Elder Dragon. So you could still go to the Baron to get vision, like to make sure they're not on it. But then you really want to be like you would more so hover around mid right now, use your team as kind of a bait and then try to pick someone. So that would really be the goal. Because again, the objective is all that matters. And typically to end the game, Elder Dragon is better to get first because it's easier to take because it doesn't do as much damage to you. And because it's a combat thing. So if you get the Elder, you can kill people to get the Baron. But if you get the Baron, it doesn't give you as much of a buff. It gives you a little bit of a buff damage-wise, but not as much, so the enemy can still easily fight you. So that's why you want to typically get Elder and then the Baron right after, because then the Baron helps you obviously push the turrets to end the game. And then yeah, a little unfortunate that your teammates get caught here. Your teammates are really far up for no reason. So, you know, there's not really much you could have done there. Unfortunately, I don't really think you needed to even ult this. Like, I think you could have, like, again, you're going to one-shot her without your ultimate because of just how, like, far ahead you are. And so had you waited for her to flash away or do something, then you can ult to follow her or whatever. But, and again, notice where you are, right? Like, even here, again, you didn't even need to be here because what was up, right? The Elder was spawning. So had we been in that position, we'd be able to help our teams in the fight. And then maybe we were able to end the game. So that's really the main thing I'm assuming we're just going to see another cycle or two of these, and then eventually someone wins a fight and you know, something happens. Maybe you steal this. Maybe you're the GOAT. You are the GOAT. Okay, so we'll take it. But
yeah, I'm pretty good at stealing dragons, so
that's good.
I get them, I think, 7 out of 6 or 7 out of 10 times I can steal a dragon. So
I mean, that's a great thing to have, yeah. And Evelynn is definitely a good stealing champion too, so that's for sure very useful for, like, you know, saving games and whatever. And now if we're setting up for objectives properly, we'll just be able to straight up smite them without having to be a hero. But, you know, looks cooler when you do it that way, so we'll take it. And then here again, the fact that we have gotten the Elder, I think everyone actually died with the Elder, but we'd still want to be going around the Baron side. So again, notice where we're going. Say that we're against a smart, you know, team. They would try to do Baron now, but instead the enemy jungler was on the top side as well. So had you just, even when the enemy jungler was there, like, because that was, the Pantheon was the jungler, you could have just pinged your team to do the Baron, and maybe you get it. And so again, sometimes you're going to do this and your team's not going to listen, and then in that case, you just have to go help them. But you got to ping it and try to get them to do it. Walk there, you know, like, ping it as much as you can, get it in their mind, and then if they listen, good. If they don't, oh well.
So I should take more initiative in like the
100%,
games for.
yeah. Like the thing about solo queue is you have to really
Mm-hmm.
like try to control everything yourself. Like you can't really rely on teammates. It's the same reason I'm telling you not to gank as much, right? You just can't rely
Mm-hmm.
on your teammates very much, and you really
Yeah.
shouldn't trust them. So I know it's like kind of like a sometimes you're gonna have a teammate doing well, and that's why I also told you to play around the stronger lane, right? To gank the stronger lane and help them out, because that's usually how you can identify who's a little bit better. Like if you see someone
Mm-hmm.
doing well and winning lane, well then you can trust them a bit more with gold and start playing a bit more around them, trying to help them out. Um, so again here, notice how. So the main goal here, right, was to get the inhibs, so the super minions would spawn.
Mm-hmm.
You got that. You're low health. Your team is low health. The enemy are respawning. We can just leave. Like once we get this, we don't have to stay. We can just go and hover the Baron, because what is the enemy maybe going to do if they do kill your teammates? They might do the Baron, right? Well then, if you have this in your mind, you could just go sit here and try to kill someone right away, because then they're not going to be able to get the Baron because someone died. And so you have to kind of understand, again, put yourself in the enemy's shoes. What are they going to want to do? And what's the actual goal of whatever I'm doing here? So here you're very low health. It's going to be pretty hard. And so just kind of a little bit of an overextension. But
Mm-hmm.
like even here, you were invisible. You could have just walked away. You didn't necessarily need to walk back in on him. So, but yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then yeah, I don't know. This is a Fiesta of a game for sure, but I think you win, right? Because
Yeah, we're gonna get Baron eventually, I think,
yeah,
and then we just end game.
yeah, it's been 27 minutes. I don't think either team has taken a Baron yet, which is crazy. But yeah, notice how the enemy jungle again is just on the wrong side. This is gonna happen very frequently, where they're just straight up on the wrong side. And when that does, that's when you can just get the Baron like this, and then I'm assuming we end the game here.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you don't know this. Third ability and first ability of a T-Rex one-shot Barons. Okay, you do, or minions, good, you do. So I'm just making sure
Oh
you knew
yes.
because a lot of people don't know that. So
Yeah,
it's
at
also
first I didn't
yeah.
know too.
Oh yeah, because you sometimes are autoing them. But yeah, another thing is don't take the T-Rex as the jungler when an objective is spawning, because now you can't smite the objective, and so it's better to let your team take it here. So we don't really want to be doing this, because then maybe the enemy will be able to just go steal the Elder if again they're smarter. They're not smart, so it's fine. But small thing, just keep in mind. And then again, typically use the third ability first to clear the minions, and then only use the first ability if you don't have your third ability, because the dash is a bit more valuable. And then when you're using the T-Rex, try to push the other sides as well. Like when you're here, you see how these minions are spawning? There's also minions right over there spawning, and you should be third abilitying these minions, go in first ability these minions, just get them all out, and then, it's just easier to push.
Oh, that makes sense because I never enjoy playing Baron. So
Yeah. They are, I think, removing the T-Rex soon, is what people have told me. So,
oh, really,
and then
I'm
also,
thankful.
the ultimate of the T-Rex, it does more damage if there's minions under the turret, because when minions are under turrets, they lower the resistance of turrets. And so what you would prefer to do is wait until this bottom lane minion wave gets under it and then use the ultimate, but you use the ultimate right when your things die, so then it does like very little damage. So
Oh, that
because
makes
yeah, if
sense
you waited
actually. I didn't
there,
know
yeah, so that's something to keep in
that.
mind. But we went either way, so we'll take it. Okay, so do you see my screen, right? You see the notes? Okay. Just again, I'm gonna just write all of the general things we spoke about, and pause whenever you have questions or when you want me to write something else, or just whatever. But we'll start with the early game. So the main thing is just the efficiency. So I'll just write as like a general thing, it's like efficiency. I don't know how to spell efficiency, but it's probably close enough. You know what I'm saying? So efficiency is the main thing. Again, making sure you farm your camps pretty much as soon as they're spawning early game. We spoke about it. So do you need me to write like a more elaborate note here, or does it make sense what I say when I say efficiency here?
No, it makes sense.
Okay. Next thing is just, again, the smaller thing, but don't smite camps or objectives until they are in last hit range. That's, again, very important early game thing. Then play more around power spikes. Power spikes. So usually like 2 and 3 items on Lilia. And pretty much once we hit any item, on Evelyn. Like pretty much like every subsequent item is like a better power spike for both of these champions, especially death cap for both of them. So just really playing around like those item spikes and being more aggressive on those times and kind of farming until you get to that point, very important. Then yeah, just do not, this is going to be the same thing as the efficiency thing, but just kind of I want to like reiterate it. Do not waste time on ganks when we have camps up. And then I also want to make sure that you understand everything that I tell you is like a general rule, but it all has times where you need to like break rules, right? You can't always just do the same thing every game. So everything I'm telling you, it's going to usually work, but the more you play, the more you're going to find out, well, sometimes I should have just gone and helped my teammate get that kill instead of farming, because that could have changed the game, because maybe he was really far ahead and now I need to play around him, or maybe there's an objective that's about to spawn and I know if I kill that guy, then we're going to be able to get the objective for free. Like there's going to be times where you need to not just focus on farming. So I want to make that clear, but it's just like more of a general thing. Usually we need to be more aware of farming and that type of thing. And then into the later parts of the game, or even like the mid game, I'll first talk about this. So for choice of objective, Herald is ideal over Dragon, but go to whatever objective your strongest member is on. So like if you're your Baron laner, you want to go towards Herald. If your duo lane is doing really well, you usually play around Dragon, but typically we'd prefer to get Herald if we can. And yeah, for objectives, make sure recall about 30 seconds before an objective if you have gold to spend. Otherwise, set up for objective early. Do you know what I mean when I say set up or no?
Yeah, I think so. Like, most of the time, if like Herald or Dragon is on the enemy side, I use the Sky Bloom and not sure what's called, but like the one bloom. If you attack it, you get jumped. Not jumped.
Oh yeah.
How do I say?
The blast cone,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I bring that. Yeah.
Yeah, you use
So
those things, you can sweep around and get vision, just be there so you can maybe pick someone off, all of that stuff, yeah. Okay, then once Baron spawns, always be on the Baron side of the map, unless you have camps, farm on the other side of the map, or if Dragon is spawning. And then be aware. What's up? Sorry.
I wanted to ask, what should you do if there's like Elder Dragon and Baron? On which side should you stay then?
Yeah, so that's what we spoke about earlier, which is at 18 minutes, which is when Elder Dragon spawns. I don't know why there's this fucking link. Yeah. At 18 minutes, and I am getting annoyed by technology. No, whatever. At 18 minutes, farm, go for Elder first, then Baron, then End. So my answer to your question, do the Elder Dragon first. The reason you want to do the Elder Dragon first, as we said earlier, is because it allows you to, I don't know what's happening with these. The reason you want to do the Elder Dragon first, it allows you to be stronger in combat, right, in fighting, and then you can fight people over the Baron, and then the Baron helps you push the actual waves in to end the game and get the turrets. So that's why you want to do the Elder first, because the Elder makes you better at getting the Baron, but the Baron doesn't really make you that much stronger to get the Elder. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Small things sometimes in niche games, you can go for this is really annoying me. In niche situations, you can go for the Baron first. If say that you're losing the game and the enemy are dude, okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting so distracted. I'm sorry. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you see what it keeps doing? Like it keeps making like a hyperlink?
Yeah, it's like
it's pissing me off. Okay. Anyways, sometimes you're losing the game and you need to get the Baron to like stall the game because the enemy are going to end. And so if the enemy go for an Elder Dragon and you're losing, sometimes you can just grab the Baron and then use that to like stall the game out. But that's going to be a pretty, you know, uncommon thing, but sometimes that happens. So that's also something to keep in mind. And then, yeah, just generally be on the side of the map of the Baron. But yeah, if the Elder's up, you do the Elder first. Just be more aware of objectives, set up for objectives. And then I'll just, you know, this is kind of a simple, silly thing, but be less panicky when we're playing, you know, just keep more in mind the enemy spells, how, like, they can respond or whatever. So I'll just try to, like, keep in mind enemy spells. And then as well, think about how the enemy will respond more often. Again, remember, like, just put yourself in the enemy shoes, right? Like, so that you actually know what they're thinking, or try to know what they're thinking, so that you can, you know, for example, they used all their spells on me. He doesn't have anything now. I can just kill him instead of, you know, flashing away after he uses all his spells. I think those are, oh wait, build stuff. Was there, wait, there was something we talked about at build, I think. Oh, on Lilia. Don't buy stasis until after 3 items win ahead, and after 2, I did that backwards. Don't buy stasis until after 2 items win ahead, or after 3 items win behind. Does that make sense? Like, why, like, behind versus ahead? Like, you do different, or do you want me to explain?
I think I get it. Like, it makes sense because if you are ahead, you are already powerful, and you can work again. You can work with like the spikes you get. When you're behind, you need to build first your items so you're on the same level.
Yeah, that's essentially it. So for sure. So yeah, I think that was the only build thing. So do you have any additional questions or anything else that I forgot to write down or mention?
I do think you made a little mistake by the third.
Third point?
Like you said, yes, like you said, 2 times Lilia, but I think you meant the last Lilia Eve.
2 or 3 items on Lilia, and pretty much any item all on Lilia. Yeah, I meant Eve. Yeah, you're right. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Any other questions or anything? Or more typos?
No, I think it makes sense now.
Okay, cool.